Coming to you from the city of the weird. Exploring topics from the esoteric and unexplored to dimensions unknown. Shining a light of truth on the darkest corners of our reality. Welcome to the Curious Realm.
Let me unmute that microphone. Well, hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday evening. I hope everybody is having a great Christmas season right now. I have been having a great one. It's been fantastic. Had plenty of family over. The boy's been having fun on his vacation, all kinds of fun stuff. Coming into the new year tonight, as a matter of fact, the new year begins in 2 days. Tonight we have a great rung of guests. We will have Michael JSS Carter here in just a moment, the second guest tonight. We will have Elizabeth Joyce. And she used to, many years ago, if any of you are old school coast to coast listeners like I am, pre-2000, early 2000s, things like that, Elizabeth Joyce used to come on Coast to Coast every year for New Year's Eve and do a prediction show, just predicting what the next year was going to unfold, astrology, things like that. So we have inherited that. We got in contact with Elizabeth right after her last show with us, and we're like, hey, we would love to revive the New Year's Eve prediction show that you used to do. So she is on in the second part. We will be talking about predictions for 2026, energies that are coming into the world that you should be looking out for, things like that. In the first part, we have our good friend, Reverend Michael JSS Carter. He is the author of A New World, If You Can Take It, God, Extraterrestrials, and the Evolution of Human Consciousness. You can find that book and many more books by the good Reverend right over at michaeljscarter.com/store. Our topic this evening with the good Reverend, welcome, is discerning experiences. Discerning is you know, that is a term that I came to love in my life, the idea of discernment. The idea of taking a step back from something and understanding the way it fits into your life, the way that it changes your life, the way that one moment branches off and starts a whole new offshoot of life sometimes. And when it comes to experiences in life, things like learning to ride a bike, all kinds of things, paranormal is one that really, it's a life changer when it happens. And I'm not sure a lot of people, even those around experiencers, understand that concept and the idea of how that experiences changes somebody. So you yourself are an experiencer. Let's begin with your experience, Reverend, if you don't mind, just so those unfamiliar can be familiarized. And they can understand how that even led you down a different spiritual path than what you were on.
And just, I didn't expect that. Coming from the background I have, raised Baptist, where all this stuff just was, it didn't exist. And if it did exist, it was of the devil. What helped me, through my experiences, many experiences with off-world intelligences, was that I had people I could bounce it off of. It was like they appeared in my life, people like the late Bud Hopkins, people like Dr. Gene Mundy, people in my, UFO support group.
Sure.
And that grounded me. Having friends say, what, not say, what are you, some kind of a nut? People saying, tell me about this experience. So, and so that grounded me. Obviously, reading books. I went to therapy for some other family of origin stuff, but my therapist, I just felt like I could trust him, and I told him about this. And he was a deeply spiritual person. He was a student of and a teacher of A Course in Miracles, and so he didn't bat an eye. And of course, they're trained not to bat their eyes, but he was genuine in saying, hey, let's unpack that. So that kept me sane. When I met Dr. Gene Mundy, I still have the cassette tapes over there, and I would go back and listen to them. I'm screaming, she put me under, and I remember afterwards she said, "Well, the good news is that what happened to you really happened. There is no bad news unless you think it's bad news." And the bad news, if you want, is that this really happened to you, and now how are you going to cope with it? Again, some years later, Bud Hopkins regressed me. And so even by then, I was settled with it. It was still affirming. I wasn't crazy because I thought I was.
Yeah.
I wasn't sleeping at night. I slept with the lights on, which I still do, to be honest. But when I'm home alone, I still have a little difficulty. Post-traumatic stuff, but it's not as bad as it was.
Sure.
And those were game changers. People saying, call me or what have you. But mostly reading and meeting people, and it affirmed that when someone said that happened to me, how are you coping with that? Discernment, I think, is really hard now, brother, because with AI, what's real, because that's the bigger thing, what's real and what's not. Also people are gullible. I find people are gullible. People are naive. People are easily misled. And they don't. Sometimes I think it's a laziness. I just read this, so I'm going to put it out there. Boom. I've had friends who do that. It annoys the what out of me when someone will come up to me and they'll say, whether it's a UFO theory or whatever it is, and they will just say, well, I've read this, so this is true. And they're putting it out there on the next podcast, and there's no research done. There's no, wait a minute, let me think this through. And people like that are easily led.
Yeah. And
easily led astray. And before we came on, I brought up 1 John 1 through 4. 1 John 4, 1 through 6. I know we got varied listeners out there, so I'm not trying to put tell you to believe in Jesus as Savior. Believe me, that's not what I'm telling you. But it says, beloved, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits to see whether they are from God, source, the universe, because many false prophets have gone out into the world. And so obviously it goes on to say, if they speak a lot of rubbish about Jesus, that may give you a hint that maybe you want to be cautious. But even if you don't believe in Jesus, what I'm saying is that Bible verse is not saying that there aren't any spirits. That's what I'm trying to get you to say. You're going to run into spirits. And you need to test them. That's right. A given.
That's right.
So that's saying that we live in a populated universe.
Absolutely. And it's funny.
They were saying that back then.
Yeah. And it's funny, growing up Roman Catholic, being a former Roman Catholic seminarian, youth minister, all kinds of things. The one thing that I point out all the time, even with the modern declaration of faith that happens before Mass begins. I believe in God, the Father Almighty, creator of heaven and earth, of all things seen and unseen.
And unseen.
Like, it is firmly declared that there is something other than.
Thank you.
Like, the Articles of Faith.
We don't talk about that. Yeah, we don't talk about that. In the Quran, Allah, praise be to Allah, all these adjectives, Lord of the worlds, plural. Lord of the worlds. And so when you have these experiences, and they don't always have to be negative, they always don't have to be ET, but when you have these experiences, which you're going to have, that's the point I'm trying to make, it is a given, then you have to say, how does this fit in my life? What am I feeling after this experience? Am I filled with fear? Do I feel like I'm being told what to do? Because that gives you a hint that you're not, you still have your free will. Are you changed by it? Because usually, if it's, usually you can tell it's real by the change that you're going through. And I know, God forbid, it doesn't always have to be a positive change, but usually there's some type of transformation that occurs. And you can't, like Oliver Wendell Holmes, you can't go, but once the mind is stretched, you can't go back to thinking, the way you used to think, right?
Yeah.
And Einstein, when, he was saying, one of the things he said was, and this is crucial, the most important question you can ask yourself is the universe a friendly place? Because the way you answer that question will be the way that you live your life. And you don't want to live in this constant state of fear. Discernment is a spiritual discipline. It's part of being on the spiritual path of what fits in my life. I love the way you said it. Prior to the show, let me step back a minute.
Yeah.
And take the view of the panorama here and not just swallow everything whole.
Yeah. Yeah. And especially for me, it comes down a lot to that backtracking ability. That's the only way I can put it. Like the example that I give regularly is my return to my former university. At one point I left University of Dallas after I left the seminary, after my semester in Rome. I left and I almost didn't come back.
Oh my goodness.
Had I not come back, I'd have never met my wife. Like literally we met because she dated a friend of mine.
Yeah.
In college. We would see each other in passing while I was playing guitar with his roommate. Things like that. And she hung out with my friends who were in the theater crowd because she was in the theater crowd. But had I not gone back, the odds of us meeting would have been minimal at best.
Yeah.
Like maybe we'd have met at somebody's graduation party because she ran in the same circle, but we wouldn't have known each other to that extent to later meet again on Facebook, and begin a relationship in that kind of way. So the ability to trace things back and see how a singular decision can lead to a windfall event.
Yes, because it's 6 degrees of separation, right?
Sure.
If you make that decision, if you zig instead of zag, your whole life changes.
Yeah.
And so you have that ability. And I'm thinking it can be developed if you put the time in, meditation, prayer, contemplation, quiet, but just to really be able to discern, is this right for me?
Yeah.
Did this really happen for me? I go into it a little bit in my book, Initiation, a handbook for experiencers, and I give some clues, but usually it's a game changer. Usually, if you have an experience, and like I said, it doesn't have to be ET related.
No.
I read about a guy, he was a therapist. He was jogging in San Francisco early one morning, and he watched the sun come up, and he lost all sense of being on the street, like he was out of his body. And he said, I was one with everything, the grass, the trees, the cars. And when he came, he couldn't explain it, but he could not go back to the way he was thinking before. The discernment, where does this fit in my life? And so again, especially nowadays, when people are easily fooled, whether it's politically, whether it's religiously, whether it's you have to be able to say, wait a minute, I'm not feeling this. This feels kind of fishy to me. What he's saying, what she's saying, or man, this is really resonating with me.
Yeah.
And I can use this in my life, because you have to be able to trust it. And you have to be, we've all been burned. We've all gotten got, as the old saying goes. We've been bamboozled. We've been hoodwinked. But that's how you learn. That's how you learn. But a lot of us don't. We weren't taught to trust ourselves, and so we want other people to make decisions for us.
Oh yeah, no, and like you said earlier, it's a point of non-vigilance in that kind of way, and almost a point of spiritual malaise or laziness. And
it's a laziness. And I've had people say to me, and it was flattering. This was a young lady had said to me once, teach us. What do you listen to a couple podcasts, and it was flat. Teach. And I would say, well, do your own research. Then we can talk. Well, I don't know if I want to do that. Well, hey, so I'm supposed to do all the work and just feed you, and you just swallow. I don't want to do that. That's not in me. There's some people who love that. Oh, I love somebody like that. I can tell you anything I want to tell you, and you'll follow it blind. And so discernment is one of the characteristics of someone who's on the journey, that I can discern.
Oh no, did you lock up?
What's right for my life.
Well, and with that discernment, especially when it comes to your experiences, to like personal experiences, things like that. Yes, there is the did this experience happen?
Yes.
And there was one in my life that I was certain happened, because there was a gentleman at the house next door who witnessed the same thing on the street with us, and he was of special needs. He was very savant-esque, forgot nothing, things like that.
Yeah.
Had phone numbers for like every payphone in the high schools. We were all just out of high school. But he had all the payphone numbers memorized and would like call the payphones to other high schools and like, hey, what's going on? And just, it was wild.
Wow.
His name was Ari. But it wasn't till years later when my friend wrote a short story about the experience and sent it to me. And he was like, hey, do you remember this? Like, do you remember, am I crazy? Like, did I make this night up? Because there was definitely alcohol involved. It was a New Year's Eve, as a matter of fact. It was my best friend, Billy, and we always got together on New Year's Eve. We would go pop fireworks at my friend's house. There was alcohol involved, maybe other things, all kinds of stuff. So the idea of, did I hallucinate this? Was this just a drunken thing that I forced into my brain? And I was like, that's interesting, because I had considered the same solution, that maybe I had a drunken thing that I had forced into my brain. But we didn't. So the idea that the being able to doubt yourself and doubt your own experience, being able to call that into question, and not in a way of, am I crazy, but more in a way of, in what ways can I confirm this actually happened?
Yeah, and that's why I think it's so important to get that feedback and to be with people who have had, if you can, or at least people who want to not ridicule you. I remember when, in December 28, 1989, when I had my first experience with the Greys, right? And I had that experience, and I kept having them, and then a friend of mine who was an astrologer, she said, Michael, I described everything. she said, I want you to take the subway down to Alphabet City, East 4th Street. She said, when you get there, just keep walking and you'll see a mural. And you'll see some faces of the people I think you just described. Tell me if they look like that. And I did it. And some street artists had painted pictures of grays on a mural.
Interesting.
And again, okay, I'm not crazy. That's what they look like. Well, I got two of them behind me. But that's what they look like. And so, again, that was it. Getting regressed was it. Going to when someone said, man, you look like you know what, and gave me the phone number to a support group. And then I had a whole bunch of people who had these experiences. And it just grounded me, as I said, kept me in the game. I wasn't crazy. Now, I had to handle it. I also, and I think maybe this is why people question as well, because now I have to change. Now I have to, now that I've expanded my reality.
Yeah.
For ill or not, I can't do this. I can't go back.
Yeah.
So now my life is really, or I can pretend it never happened. I can shut down. And I'm not saying that's bad, because people have had trauma.
Plenty.
And I don't have to deal with it. But it's always inside you. It's always there.
Well, and let's address that real quick, because it's one thing to be someone like yourself who has had the experiences you have, and come to the terms with them. I've had my experiences and come to terms with them.
Yes.
I was even explaining in a pre-record with somebody my whole experience of having a shadow person grab me, and how my interpretation and understanding of that experience has literally changed over the last couple years.
I love it.
Into the fact of no, that was addicted Chris who was trying to hold on to addicted Chris and not let real Chris go, because Chris was trying to leave that.
Yes.
So that makes much more sense to me. And even the idea of discerning things to that point when it comes to an experience. What about those that have decided to, I guess, turn their eyes away from the experience that they had, and it is still there? Because much like any traumatic experience, that can dig deep.
Yeah, well, it's like you have two choices. You can act it out or you can act it in, because it's there. It will come out in your relationships. It will come out in your responses to certain things, because the body holds everything. The spirit holds everything. It's right there. And I want to be clear, not judgment at all, because you see it with war vets.
Yep.
Who've seen and done things maybe, and how can I cope with it? And it's hard. It's difficult.
Yeah.
I just would encourage people, if you can, to find someone, especially if you feel it's holding you back, if you're not being the you really want to be, to come to grips with that, because behind that is a whole different kind of energy that you can be privy to. It's like keeping a secret.
Yeah. And
you're as sick as your secrets. And so, it's like therapy, right? The old cliche, but it's true. The only way out is through. You got to go through it and come out on the other side. It's like what a shaman does. It's like what a healer does. It's like what a caterpillar can become a butterfly. But as long as you hold on to it, no matter how painful and scary it is, you can't be free.
Yeah. No, and
Be free.
It's funny because I've about 2 years ago now, I went to national specialist in panic and anxiety. As you know, I was having some issues with things like that. And one of the things he told me was, no, you can't leave this situation. You can't. He was like, you've got to be able to get through this situation.
Yeah.
Because what are you going to be able to leave every situation? You can't leave every situation. And that's called aversion therapy.
Yes.
What you need is immersion therapy. Like you need to actively go through this situation and go through it regularly.
You have to. And you got to trust. Here's where discernment comes in. You also have to trust who you go to.
Yes.
Let's say you pick a minister. Let's say you pick a therapist. Let's say you may have to go through 2 or 3 of them before you find out what's good for you.
Yeah.
Everybody who comes to you may not be what you need. And, so it's time consuming, but you're worth it. It can be time consuming, but you're worth it. You're worth it. I was very fortunate with the therapist I had. And again, I didn't go to them for the ET stuff. I went for Family of Origin stuff, but after a couple of years, I brought it up. So, how you can find someone, my God, they can call you.
Yeah.
Chris, they can call me. And so because you want someone who's going to be non-judgmental.
Yeah.
You want someone who's going to be a non-anxious presence. You want someone who's just going to be open. They don't have to agree with you. They may not even be able to relate to it. But as long as they're not judging you and you feel as though you're being heard, that's all you want.
Yeah.
That's all you want. And then once you've opened up, the right book will come your way. The right person will come your way. Once you've committed, once you've taken that first step, I want to heal. I want to heal from this. And then the whole universe will open up to you. But until then, you're holding on. And I understand what that means and what that looks like. And you'll know when the time is right to do it.
Exactly. And the example that I always gave people, if I actively used to buy Slinkies for every one of my students the first night of class.
Oh,
and
I remember playing with those.
It's the coolest toy in the world. They're super fun, but here's the thing. Don't touch the Slinky. Adore the Slinky. Look at the Slinky. Imagine what the Slinky can do when it slinks. All kinds of stuff. But at the end of class, it was pick up your Slinky. Now just wish it to slink. Like, bound up in that spring is all kinds of potential energy.
Yeah.
You have to push a Slinky.
Perfect.
Like, you have to initiate that process.
That's the word. Initiate. And you have the power to do that.
Yeah.
You have the power to do it. It's your choice. And you just have to tune out people who say, oh, come on, man, how long are you going to hold on to that?
Yeah.
Come on, man, you should be over that. Well, that happened 3 years ago. Those are not the people you want to be talking to.
Yeah.
You find someone you can trust who will walk you through it. Non-judgmental, a non-anxious presence, and will encourage you like we two are doing. Discernment. How does this fit into my life? Does it fit into my life?
Yeah.
People, places, things. Do I want this? Do I need this? Some things you can't change, so you have to change your response to it. Notice I said response. I didn't say react.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we react. It's just, we just jump started, we just kick, we don't, you want to respond to life, not react to everything that comes.
Yeah.
Especially in the paranormal world, because there are things that sometimes you think may be demonic or devilish or and if you ride it through, pardon me, that could be just what you needed. That could be, when I first saw my reptilian, okay, it's all that stereotype. I'm talking about afterwards. Now, when I first saw it, I was scared to death, and he touched me and told me not to be afraid. I say he, male voice, telepathy, lips didn't move, frightening. Didn't come back to visit.
Yeah.
But again, it let me know that there's so many beings out there. There's so many. We live in a populated universe. Some of these beings don't need bodies. Some of them don't need ships. Test the spirits. You're going to encounter them. And they may be in human form. They may be humans. You may be dealing with a very difficult human being. Their spirit troubles you, but you got to deal with them every day at work. Maybe you were in relationship with one. I like them, but I don't know if they're good for me. I don't, test the spirit. Discernment. You do it in relationships. You do it when you shake somebody's hand and you get that feeling, I like this person, or gotta watch Michael. Not getting a good vibe. You do it then, you have to do it in other aspects of your life as well. And you have to trust it. And when you're wrong about somebody, you admit it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Because all our baggage gets in the way of that.
Yep.
All your baggage gets in the way. And then you learn. I have people who have the same experiences I have, but they just see it a different way. I think it was the greatest thing that happened to me, even despite my fear. It changed me. Other people said, no, I can't. They're not bad. It's just, what did I bring to the table?
Well, and,
is the universe a friendly place?
Yeah, yeah. And
it comes back to that.
It does. It really does. And that brings up the point of what the experiencer decides or discerns to intake post-experience. Are you in an unhealthy way rabbit-holing down things, that kind of stuff? Are you looking for confirmatory material to your experience, or are you looking, like you're saying, for a healthy way to find your way through the experience? Because once you've had an experience and you're online and everything else, it can be hard once again to find out who to trust with your experience, who won't lead you down rabbit holes of misinformation, disinformation, information that may get you into manic states, instead of finding a way through the PTSD of inexperience.
Yes. Yeah. And one of those clues is when people start telling you how you should feel.
Explain that.
Michael, that happened to me. And I don't know, man, but you should, come on, these beings are all, it's love and light. Michael, you have cancer? Oh, man, what did you do? What did you do? Are you eating right? They don't mean it. They want to help.
Yes.
I hope those are good, clear examples, but they're trying to psychoanalyze. They're trying to put, rather than just listening. You may need to say, look, you may say, Michael, I don't need you to, I just want you to listen.
Yeah.
I don't need you to fix. I teach a course in miracle class at church on Tuesdays, and two people came in and said that they had some diagnosis. They didn't get into it, but some pretty serious diagnosis when they visited their doctor over the holiday. This was before Christmas. And two people started saying, well, the court says da-da-da-da. And I had to say, hold it, gang. They didn't ask for that. They didn't need that. Yeah. They just said, they shared with us, I got some heavy duty things I got to make some decisions about. You're not supposed to go. They didn't ask you to fix it. They didn't ask you to tell them what you should think. People, I remember in New Age circles, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way, but I remember, if someone said I had cancer or they had cancer or what have you, you had to be careful because a lot of people, they start laying all this stuff on you, so-called spiritual stuff, and next thing you know, they're blaming you for your cancer.
Yeah, yeah. It ends up coming down to sins of the father or something like
Yes.
that.
Yeah, well, you didn't do that right, and of course, and there may be some truth to that, it may not be, but
Sure.
you don't know. And so that's what I mean when people start telling you what you should feel, how they handled it. And you may, and we want to help, people want to help, and you may want to say, hey, Mike, listen, I got to unpack something. Don't need, or I would say, what do you need from me? Just to listen. I do that with my clients who come for pastoral care. What do you need from me today? They lay it all out there. Do you want, and they look like I'm not, they think I'm not responding. I'm listening. And I'll just say, what do you need from me right now? Do you need me? Do you want my suggestion? What do you want? Because that way you are in control of this situation in the sense of you're not in control. When something happens to you, it lets you know you're out of control. When those beings came to me in my room night after night, I was not in control. It blew that away. Okay, which was okay. I'm as I gotten older, I know life, you're not in control. But when I pay to go to a therapist, or if I'm going to someone, I'm in control of that space. And if it's a safe space, I can share, but I also can say, I don't need any answers right now, but I sure could use your ear.
Yeah.
That's crucial, because if you don't feel safe, you're not going to share, and it makes you more mistrustful.
Yeah.
You never get a second chance to make a first impression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially when it comes, because so much of this, like we were saying pre-show, so much of it's been interesting to see over the last few years the divide beginning within the UFO UAP community, within the dialogue of forces of darkness, forces of light, and light ships or demonic entities and things like that. And it has that dialogue has grown. It's gotten a whole lot larger. And I think that I'm not going to say that necessarily obfuscates things when it comes to discernment, but for those who may not necessarily, even because that would presume the fact that an experiencer is of religious nature to begin with. And I would venture to say the odds of that are probably less than somebody of true religious nature having an experience,
Yeah, because it depends on the lens that you're going to, if you are dualistic in nature, which most religions will teach, it's either good or bad.
Yeah.
It's either black or white. Then it's going to be hard because that's your worldview.
Yeah.
I live in a world of gray. Now, yes, I want to be clear. There's some things that were true 5,000 years ago, and they'll be true 5,000 years from now. I'm not talking about that.
Yeah.
I'm talking about that's why I love Taoism. At least that's a philosophy. It's a philosophy. It's not a religion. It's like Buddhism. Yeah. There's a little dark in the light, and there's a little light in the dark. And so nothing is purely one thing or the other. Life would be easier if it was. This is definitely wrong, but it's not always that way. And so how many times in life has something happened to you that you thought was a negative, and it turned out to be, boy, that was pretty pivotal. I'm kind of looking back, that I needed that, or vice versa.
Yeah.
And so depending on your lens, that's how you're going to see. If the only tool you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Because when people talk to me about reptilians, I've seen reptilians twice, but they never did any harm to me. They were frightening to look at. I thought I was going to have a heart attack, but nothing untoward happened. But you got 9 out of 10 people that would tell you reptilians are evil.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, because that's the lens. The serpent, they're reptiles. They would, and so if that's your lens, that's the way you're going to look at it. And it'll take a strong kind of energy or persuasion to get you to say, well, wait a minute, I'm bringing that to the table. My experience is none of them ever told me this is what you have to do. They never told me that. And that helped me. And all the fear I had to say, well, Michael, these beings have never really hurt you. Only one time, not on purpose, that I felt. So anything else was me. My life got better. I was more vulnerable. I felt more intelligent. There were physiological changes. But, and this was years later, but the fear, which I do have now,
sure, but
not like then, they never once hurt me. Like I said one time unintentionally, I told you that.
Yeah.
With the needle.
Yeah.
So that's it. Well, Michael, where's all that fear coming from? And I'm not saying you shouldn't fear. Come on, I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
I'm just, I mean, the way they look, the way they pop up, but I'm just saying there's some things to be afraid of in that sense, but fear as a modus operandi, fear as I live my life like that. No. If anything, they were trying to say, don't be afraid.
Yeah.
You know.
And it's interesting because we've spoken with numerous experiencers that have written books, all kinds of things about their experience. I mean, Sev Talk is a good friend. Our recently passed friend Earl Grey.
Earl. Yeah.
All kinds of people, and every single person that had an experience, it started off from a point of trauma.
Oh, yeah.
Only a couple of people that I know who spent presence and had that experience of the third, fourth kind. Only all of their experiences began in a traumatic way, and it wasn't until later that they discerned the fact that, oh no, that fear was utterly on my side.
Yes.
They didn't inject that fear into me. They weren't doing anything that like. It was the situation that I imparted that onto.
Yes. And as I said, yes, it was fearful, but after a while, you know, it's like Kierkegaard, right? Life is lived forward, but it's only understood backwards. At the top of the show, you said I had to step back. That's what your words.
Yeah.
Beautiful words.
Thank you.
I had to step back. I had to step back to discern what's really going on here. Because otherwise you're making decisions out of fear.
Yeah.
Not always good to do.
Yeah, you're reacting, not responding.
And the other thing I would say to our audience is that you can't do it alone. You gotta be able to trust somebody. You cannot do it alone. You can hold it in and you'll be miserable. You've got to take the risk of being what? Vulnerable.
Now,
got to take the risk.
How does that?
I'm going to be vulnerable.
How do you begin to work with somebody on that vulnerability, Reverend? After they've had this trauma.
I will say the words, you can trust me, but I will only say it maybe once or twice. They will feel they can trust me by how am I giving advice without being asked? Am I telling them how you should feel?
Yeah.
Just being a non-anxious, listening is an art. And just to listen without judgment. I think Plato talks about that. Or who is it who says that listening is easy, but speaking is easy, but saying the right thing at the right moment, at the right time, and maybe Aristotle, in the right way. Yeah. That's difficult. Yeah. But yeah, that's what I would do. I'm here for you. Tell me the story.
Well, and I think because here's the thing. I think that especially amongst our audience, I think amongst the general population, you're going to find more people that need to be able to talk to somebody who has had this experience than people who have had this experience.
Yes.
So I think that this is
I agree.
This is much more for those of you out there who may run across a friend or a family member who, because they know you are open to these experiences, because they know you listen to shows like this, that you will be their trusted source.
You'll be there. And listen, and again, that's why I wrote Initiation. Because this, there's data that shows you that, for instance, I was very fortunate. When I got married, my wife hung in there with me. There's a high divorce rate with experiences.
Yeah.
Because when one person is having the experience and the other one isn't, it's hard for the other person to maybe adapt to the rapid growth of the other person. Or, I'm working on Wall Street, making several $100,000 a year. Now I want to become a Reiki master. Now I want to become a massage therapist. I want to change my whole lifestyle. Do you know what I mean? Because those things happen.
Yeah.
And so I'm just using that as an example. I didn't have any breakups because of that, but my breakups were for other things.
Yeah.
But I was fortunate that the women that I was married to on the journey, that was one thing we didn't have. Some of them, one of them was an experiencer. She told me after I told. The other ones had other different experiences, not with ETs. So, you need to be able, and I talk about that in the book, but I talk about the transformation. The people who are most likely to be open to these kind of experiences, too.
Yeah.
A lot of artists, a lot of creative types. But again, you can't heal alone.
Yeah.
You can't. So eventually, you're going to have to share it.
Yep.
You hear people, I know they've been on your show, but you hear people and they say, I have not told anyone this for 40 years. I haven't told anybody this for 60 years. Before they go to their grave, they want to tell it. I haven't told anybody this because now you hear it in disclosure stories. I was in the military and I saw this. I have not told, I didn't want to lose my pension. Oh, I just couldn't believe it. I've got to get it out. You can't do it alone. And you have to be able to take the risk. And risk being vulnerable. You may risk making a mistake, but that's okay. I did. I don't share this with everybody. Well, I'm now I'm more public, but I couldn't share it with everybody because I didn't want to have that assault of, what are you, some kind of freaking nut? What kind of minister are you? What are you, worshiping the devil? What's going on? That's abusive. And I learned. But then I found, and it's probably easier now because you can go online and you can meet people. Yeah. You can go to my website. Give me a holler, that kind of thing. But, and Chris built my website, just so you know. Excellent job.
Thank you.
At a affordable price, I might add. And, but you want to go to people. You'd be surprised. Look at these people in disclosure. Now, yes, they're all military, but okay.
Sure.
That's concerning, but these people have held this stuff in for so long.
Yeah.
And now they're risking pensions. They're being vulnerable. I mean, they're going to an extreme. I'm not going to lose my pension if I talk about it, but you get my drift.
Yeah, but you took your risks as well as a reverend who worked in a church.
My church, they tried to fire me. A woman tried to get me fired.
Yeah.
Now, I don't preach it from the pulpit, so I'm clear with that. But absolutely. I just mentioned this. Well, she saw me on Ancient Aliens.
Yeah.
My point being is that, but you can't heal alone. So choose well, discern well, and if you don't, you make a mistake, and you learn from it.
Yeah.
But you've got to get it out. You've got to be able to share it, because it's like laying down your cross or whatever it is. It's like putting your suitcases down after a long journey. You don't have to carry them anymore. You're lighter.
Yeah.
Enlightenment is about getting lighter.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And that is a beautiful way to look at that, because it is an enlightening moment.
It can be.
If you look at things through the proper lens and the experiential lens of how this changed you, how this the turn of phrase I normally use is how your keyhole has been widened by somebody
There
with
you
a
go.
crowbar. Is
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I mean, all
it was
kind
not
of
a
images come to
gentle
mind,
action that
yeah, you've
opened
got
your
to be.
keyhole.
You've got to, because you're not being the person that you can be. You're certainly not being all you can be. And what does discernment mean? The ability to judge well. That's the first definition. The ability to judge well. Second definition, now this is in a religious Christian context.
Okay.
Perception in the absence of judgment with a view to, well, it's not, they put Christian, any spiritual path. Perception in the absence of judgment with a view, with your inner eye and these eyes and your heart, to obtain spiritual guidance and understanding. Even a negative experience, you can say, what am I getting from?
Yeah.
What is this teaching me? Maybe I went through life thinking that let's all sing Imagine and Kumbaya, and I needed some water thrown in my face to say, hey man, you know, you're so heavenly minded that you're no earthly good.
Mm.
Or maybe I'm always waiting for the other shoe to drop. This is too good to be true. And maybe something comes along that's good and there are no strings attached.
Yeah.
You know, what am I learning from this? And of course, there's always the third option. This was not a good experience, but how can I keep it from taking all the wind out of my sails?
Yeah.
Or this was a wonderful experience, but I got to remember that life is both and, not either or.
Yeah.
And et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. And even tracking it back once again to, were there decisions that I made that landed me in this?
Yeah. Yeah, you know, bad relationships we've been in, you date someone, oh my God, what did I do? You learn 5 years down the line. Lack of discernment. I got drawn in. So it doesn't always have to be some cosmic experience. No. It's the day in, day out living, discernment. That's not right for me, but it's right for my friend. Go do that. Go, that's for you. That's not for me.
Yeah.
Doesn't make you bad.
That's
you
right.
do that, and I'll meet you later. You run and take care of that, or what have you. That's discernment.
Yeah.
What's good for me right now?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And once again, that non-judgmental aspect of discernment is hugely important in that definition, because you aren't trying to judge somebody's experience. You aren't even trying to judge yourself by your experience or define yourself by your experience.
Well, that you said it. And that's what we want. That's what we want, to not be judged. You don't have to agree with it. You may not even believe it. But if you can sit and listen to me, that's all I really need. How many times have you done that? You know, someone comes up with a problem and you haven't said doodly. You just listen. Maybe you said a few words. After 20, 30 minutes, they say, Chris, boy, thanks, man. I feel so much better. Thanks for talking to me. You're like, I didn't say a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
Yeah, but you listened and you helped the healing process.
That is a regular thing for me, actually.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And that's the magic. And that's where the healing, that's healing.
Yeah.
To be listened to. I'm significant. You're telling that person.
That's right.
That you are significant. You are worth the time. Let me listen without judgment, without thinking about what I'm going to say next.
That's right.
But that's a gift.
Well,
I mean, a gift to give someone and a gift to have.
Absolutely, absolutely. And once again, I want to focus this much more toward everybody out there listening, not just the experiencer. The experiencer
exactly,
needs to hear it too, but more than anything,
this is everyday life.
Everybody else needs to hear it, so that when an experiencer comes to you, you are not judging them.
No,
because that's just it. It's one of those, and I say it on the show regularly, because of my experiences that I cannot explain. I will forever believe every experiencer prima facie until proven otherwise.
Yeah.
Until data points to me otherwise or whatever, I will believe exactly what they say happened.
Yeah, this is the world we live in. We live in a populated universe. And once you get that, you cannot look at religion the same, your life the same, your relationships the same. Once you just, like people, like right now, the cat's out of the bag. We don't even ask anymore, are ETs real?
Yeah.
That train has left the station.
Well, yeah.
We don't ask that anymore, okay? Because our government's telling us, Ray Charles could see it. So that train has left the station. But once you really digest that could take years. I'm not alone. Yeah. We're not alone. Now you see life in a different way.
Well,
you remember it used to be, hey, I'll believe it when I see it. No, those days are gone. If you believe it, you will see it.
Yeah.
And that's not philosophy. That's physics.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Because at that point, the lens of perception is there.
Yeah. Yeah. Like Wordsworth. Yeah. If the doors of perception were cleansed, we would see things as they are, right? Infinite.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And
Wordsworth, another brilliant mind. And so, it's not, no one says anymore, oh, I'll believe it when I see it. No. If you believe it, you will see it.
Well, and like we always said with Earl Grey, as an experiencer, you approach things afterward from, I don't believe, I know. Belief implies faith. You don't, I don't have faith that these things exist. I know they exist because of my experiences.
I know they do. Yeah, yes, that's right. Yeah, I don't need faith.
Yeah.
I know because that's happened to me.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful thing.
It is. And once again, on both sides of the coin, from the experiencer's point of view, and I want you to know, I know that I always refer to you as an experiencer, Reverend. I do not define you as experiencer.
No, I know. We don't even have to go into that. No, and I'm glad you said it, because what I will say, don't put yourself in the box.
Exactly.
It's easy to do.
That's
a friend of mine, very gifted psychic. I told this story, so I'll make it a truncated version. He told me that ETs were visiting me. I had never mentioned it to him. He drew one for me.
Wow.
What I saw.
Wow.
His name is Gene. His name is Gene Ashley. He has since crossed over. And I was so excited. And he would give me free readings every 3-4 months. And one day I was really excited, and I was like, what do they have to tell me today? What is going on? And I could see he was like, oh, come on. He said, look, Michael, I can't call them in. If they show up in the reading, I will tell you what they said. But he said, I just want you to know, there's more to you than this. Now, I couldn't hear that then. It was the greatest thing, that had ever happened to me until later I became a dad. And it stuck with me. I'm still talking about it. But he said, he was saying, you're more than just a contactee.
That's right.
This is something that's happened to you, but it doesn't, I'm a dad, I'm a minister, I'm an author, I'm a healer, but it's easy to put ourselves in these boxes.
Yep.
And you can go through your whole life defining yourself as I'm an experiencer. Well, so what? So's half the planet now.
Yeah. Yeah. And
you see all these books written, everybody's an experiencer.
And I would posit the fact psychologically that basically what happens is your humanity is compounded once you have had an experience.
Yeah. And you get it. It's like you're more than your body,
Yeah.
It takes you a while to get that this will die, this will go away, but your consciousness lives on. So you're more than this, and you're more than an experiencer. And then you can live life fuller.
That's right.
You have more to talk about. I had friends when I left New York, but we stopped being friends. Why? Not that they were bad people, but if we weren't talking about the phenomenon, we had nothing to talk about. And there was so much going on in the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like we couldn't converse because these people, unless you were talking about
the
latest UFO book, or then I kind of outgrew them.
Yeah.
I didn't make them bad people, and maybe some people outgrew me, but there was a time when that's all I could talk about. But I'm so much more, and you want to remember that. It makes you a more interesting person.
That's right.
That's what I love about what you're putting on Facebook. Yeah, you'll talk about, you give us a little bit of news, you give us a little bit of political science, you give us a little bit of science, you give us, and you get the ET. You're interesting. It's interesting. Let's see what he's got on there today.
Well, because
otherwise, you keep scrolling.
Well, because that's part of the conversation, and the moment that you start denying that part of humanity, and that point of connection and that point of just conversation. I've had 3 or 4 people like personally attack me on my group in the last week where it's like, yeah, okay. I'm sorry you feel that way. I just post news. That's all. And for this exact reason, to start a conversation.
Yeah. Then you find your own group. Start your own group.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it just makes you a more interesting person.
That's it.
And that's what you want to be. And you have abundant life. And, this is where we are. So it's a long way of me saying, don't put yourself in the box. Life will put you in the box if you let them.
Well,
but you don't, I'm an experiencer, but you can talk to me about almost anything. And I would have a good conversation with you because that's something that's happened to me, but that's not all I am.
Yeah.
But I didn't believe that for a long, long time. Well, and that's what he was trying to tell me. Yeah. And I couldn't hear it then.
And that's exactly what I wanted to get across here in that last couple minutes, Reverend, was the idea that just because you are an experiencer, just because you had a traumatic experience with the paranormal, don't let that define you. Don't let that be the defining moment. Let the change. Let the catharsis be the defining moment for you.
Yes. And I will say this because I know we're running out of time. I have met spirits that I did not feel good about. But I'm not possessed. They didn't keep coming back. But it reminded me, hey, man, everybody, like you would a human being.
Yep.
Everybody that shakes your hand or that's really your friend. I don't know whether I just didn't feel it was not a good energy, and they moved on.
Yeah. Reverend, thank you so much as always for your time, especially during the busy Christmas season.
I looked forward to it. I'm glad you reminded me because I had it written down.
Yeah.
And then I said, well, wait a minute, because we did a show a few weeks ago, and I said, well, then maybe we're not doing the 30th. But anyway, the gods were smiling. It worked out.
That's right.
I'm going to wish you and your audience the happiest of New Year's, a peaceful New Year's, and I'll see you on the next one.
Absolutely. You have a great ring into 2026, Reverend. Take care. Before we let you go, though, let everybody know where they can go to get their copy of Initiation, where they can go to get their copy of A New World, if you can take it.
Yes, I got 5 books out, 6 books. One's a book of sermons. Just type me in, go to Amazon, or go to my website, michaeljscarter.com. If you're an Ancient Alien fan, watch it. I think I shot some things in New York back in December, and I think they're going to air this spring. So for season 18 or 19, I think it is, for Ancient Aliens. And fantastic. I wish you all a gentle peace. And see you, God willing, in 2026.
Absolutely, Reverend. Same. Take care, and we'll be in touch with links, all that kind of good stuff. Blessings.
All right, brother. Blessings to you and yours.
All right. Man, Always incredible talking with the great Reverend Michael JSS Carter. While you are online checking out everything from Michael JSS Carter at michaeljscarter.com, everybody, make sure to stop on by Curious Realm. That is where you can like, follow, subscribe. That is where you can share everything. CuriousRealm.com is the website. When we come back from this quick commercial break, we will be joined by Elizabeth Joyce. We will be going into the astrology and energies of the coming year, 2026, specific predictions for dates, all kinds of things. We will be getting into that and so much more with Elizabeth Joyce right after this.
The key to good science is good research. At the heart of good research is a good data set. With the field observation and encounter log from Curious Research, you can easily keep track of your investigative information all in one place, making it easier to review cases and readily see comparisons and contrasts between them. Whether out in the woods squatching, in a back room gathering EVPs, or using high-tech gear to track UFO, UAP activity, this easy-to-carry, pocket-sized scientific data log is the perfect companion for any field researcher. You can find your copy of the Curious Research Field Observation and Encounter Log at Amazon.com or visit the official Curious Realm store at curiousrealm.com/store to reserve your copy for yourself, your family, or a mind that you want to open. That website again is curiousrealm.com/store.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back from that quick commercial break. Thank you so much for staying tuned through that. And also, thank you so much to our sponsors, especially True Hemp Science. If you are a user of CBD products like I am, stop on by True Hemp Science today, folks. I have been using the products made by Christopher Lynch and True Hemp Science for the last 5 years of my life, and I am here to tell you, from CBD products that I've found at dispensaries across the country, they are hands down the best. They use a spagyric process where every part of the hemp plant is used. I mean, seeds, stems, roots, buds, leaves, every part of the plant is used, combusted, reused, and that process followed time and time again until nothing but an amazing spagyric product, complete with terpene profiles and all remains. Stop on by truehempscience.com today. Use the code CURIOUS7 to save 7% off your entire cart of $50 or more and get two free edibles on your way out the door. Our guest in this segment is the amazing Elizabeth Joyce. She is the author of Mysteries Revealed, Beyond Mortal Boundaries. That is her latest book. She is the author of so many other books. She is alumnus of Coast to Coast AM. She used to go on every year and do prediction episodes with Art Bell during the New Year. So welcome to our New Year episode, Elizabeth, where we're basically going to do the same thing with you. Go through what is upcoming in 2026 when it comes to what we can look forward to astrologically, what we can look forward to, I guess, just prediction-wise as humanity, as a world as a whole. So thank you so much for coming on tonight.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Well, 2025 for many people has been more than a tumultuous year, Elizabeth. Let's start with something that I think carries over from 2025 into 2026, which we kind of touched on during your last appearance, which is Three Eye Atlas and what the whole aftermath of Three Eye Atlas is for us when it comes to that ripple.
It's not finished yet, but it was with us on the 19th of December. And that really began 2/26. it's going to be a very different year starting January 1st. Something's going to happen that day that will be on the world stage. We're heading towards energy that we've never experienced before. It's very hard to predict, although people are saying some pretty wild things. Yeah. So what I do is go with the astrology, and then I channel in what might happen at that time based on what happened last time. But you can't do that with this energy because we don't have any last time. On your last show, I told you that the Great Reset on February 20th is going to bring us energy that we've never had before. The only time we may have had it was at the beginning, when the Bible says in the beginning, because it's Aries, 0 degrees Aries, and it's Neptune and Saturn. And what that means energetically is that you're going to make your dream come true. Neptune is the dream. Saturn is the work. You have to work at making your dreams come true. Some people take 20 years, some people take 20 minutes. But that's what 226 and 227 is going to be about. And you have to stay in your higher energies, or you could create pain and aggravation. So I have a five steps that you can do to keep in your higher energies. And the main focus of this year is going to be technology and political changes. But that's because the public, the people, the collective are going to get together and say, I've had enough. I'm not going to take it anymore. Just like in the movie Network.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
absolutely.
Also, Martin Luther King crossing the bridge, because that's the last time we had some of this energy. I did write out some important dates for you.
Please.
But we're walking into rare, unknown energies. And they will be very powerful. You'll all feel it. Everybody will feel it. What they're feeling now is great tiredness, fatigue.
Yeah.
And that's normal when we go through body changes. And our DNA is opening up because we have 12 strands and we only use 2. So our DNA is opening up to be receiving a greater amount. Do you want to hear my theory?
Please.
I have a theory. And it's about the atom bomb in 1945. We split the atom. I don't think the humans were supposed to get that high in their energy knowledge, but we dropped it on Japan. So that woke up the universe. That woke up other people in other parts of the universe. Yeah. And we are going to begin to know that they are here and that they are available and they're closely watching us. They have an advantage because they can use telepathy to find out what's going on, and they have greater technology than we have. We're really a baby with technology.
Yeah.
So after they dropped the bomb, it was decided throughout the universe that we would never be able to drop another one. We couldn't, because it doesn't affect just the Earth. It affects the solar system and the galaxy. It's too powerful. So they decided that they're not going to let us do it anymore. And I find that fascinating because that's what they're here, why they're coming and making themselves known. They know now that mankind can destroy itself without really even knowing that they can do it. They have an idea of the ruin, but they don't see the whole picture. And unfortunately, death has become a joke. I mean, look at Rob Reiner and all that.
Yeah.
That's the beginning of what we're going to be going through, because people are getting the wrong energy in their minds, and it's affecting them. Well, and that's negative.
Yeah.
That's being done on purpose by some extraterrestrials.
Well, and it's interesting that you bring that up, because one of the things that we talk about regularly on this show is the Mayan prophecy of 2012, and people's utter misunderstanding of that Mayan prophecy, and the whole idea of us shifting into the night on the Mayan calendar. That daytime is the discovery of a technology, nighttime is its application, according to the Mayan calendar. So we have been dipping into this point of application of technology of humanity, and like the Mayan calendar said, it's the end, because we don't know what's going to happen from this side of the technology. And even now, you're saying February 20th being that point of great reset of energy, and it being a point of dream coming true. If we're stuck in that point of negative energy in our mind, that is what will manifest, Elizabeth, is the nightmare, not the dream.
So then they send the Three-Eye Atlas. The Three-Eye Atlas came from the other side of the universe, and it was sent here. And it wasn't sent 2,000 years ago. It was sent in 1945, after we blew up Japan. And they came and they wanted to bring our consciousness up to a higher level. So it went around Mercury, and then it went around Venus, and it went around the sun to the other side, where it was able to pick up the vibrations of the planet Earth, of all planets in this solar system. And then it went by Earth, and it threw out waves of energy. And those waves of energy are coming in 17 million miles away. And do you know what those scientists were thinking of? How to blow it up. Because they knew it was sending something. That's negative. That is so negative. But of course, they can't do it. They can't reach it, which is good. So those waves of energy are going to be coming in. And starting on January 1st, it will create a lot of change. And the main thing we have to worry about in 26 are fires, water, and earth changes. Forget about who's going to be president or who's going to be king. We have to worry about fire, water, and earth changes.
And what do you mean by fire, water, and earth changes? Are we looking for like massive yes. chains of eruptions?
Well, look at what's happened in Hawaii and California.
Sure.
And we've never had the giant waves that we're going to be having. And I've got dates. Let's see where they... Okay. On 2/26, there are many powerful dates throughout the year, starting with the Great Reset on the 2020. Then we have July 16th, Uranus sextiles Neptune. And the last time that happened was in 1966, 67, and 68. Well, that was Woodstock. And that was Martin Luther King era, where we had all of the changes. That was powerful because that was the Beatles.
Yeah, major upheaval societally. And
the Beatles were really here to bring us a new type of thinking and higher consciousness. All of their songs are about higher consciousness.
Sure.
And then the next one we have is July 18th and November 29th. Now that has to do with technology. That was the last time we had the conjunctions. I'm trying to read here. Of Uranus and Pluto. They're going to trine. That's like a triangle.
Uh-huh.
Gemini, and Aquarius. And that last time we had that was the Roaring 20s. Let's have a good time and not responsibility. The Roaring 20s, but also the Roaring 20s brought us new technology. So we are going to have a higher form of technology. I think we're at the beginning stages of what it can really do. And I think people will feel like they want to dance and have a good time instead of working with reality.
Right.
So we have so many changes, so many things. It's going to affect the personality as well. And it's going to affect the way we think. The past year we've been pushing liberation. We've been pushing different things that we thought would be better for the planet. And it is time to clean up our planet. But it's going to happen with all of the earth changes that are coming. And there are a lot of people that aren't going to listen. And there are a lot of people that are going to go to the other side this year by choice. Remember, we're all here by choice. Well, we were born before we were born. We promised to come and to do certain things to uplift mankind. Hopefully, we're going to spread the love. But we will have huge political changes. I think Prince Charles is going to pass away and give his leadership to William. And I do think that Trump is going to be in a lot of trouble in November. He's really overreached the ego. People aren't liking what he's doing, not with his ruling, but with his personal. And the ego is easing God out. So he's going to have trouble in the fall. We have a huge, we're going to have a huge equinox in September. It's an Aries equinox. Now, you know that everything is moving into Aries by the time we get to May. All the planets will be in Aries that have been in Pisces. Pisces is endings. Aries is new beginnings. And also, the feminine is coming in. You know, we've been ruled by men for eons. Go back to the time of Christ and you'll see, you know, women could just cook and have babies. Yeah. That's probably come a long way. But the year of the feminine is this year and you can't stop it. You can't say that's not going to happen.
What does that mean for those that may not understand that yoni energy in that kind of way, Elizabeth? What does that mean for them?
It means that women are going to show that they have a mind. They're going to show that they're well educated. And it's equality. We have to have balance. It's been women and men. Now it has to come to a balance. So it's not anything that's life-threatening. It is just that we're going to be receiving a strong cosmic energy for success, and that is going to make everything come into balance. Nobody's better than anybody else. Nobody's higher. Nobody's lower. You know, India has always had the caste system. Yeah. But that's going to change. The son of a lawyer may not want to be a lawyer. Yeah. He may want to be an artist. And so that's good. But December was an exhausting month.
Yes, it was.
Very important to know that and to know why. It raked up a lot of dead issues. And it raked up a lot of truth. For example, the Epstein files. For example, the mismanagement of money, and there has been a great mismanagement of money. And we certainly have proved that. And it's got to come into balance. And that's what this year is going to be about, starting January 1st.
Wow.
And I think that's important. Let me get to the point of where you can stay in balance.
Oh, please.
The first thing you need to do is find your passion. Your passion is very important. What are you good at? What did you want when you were 15 or 16? How did you see your life as you graduated from high school? And find your passion. And then do it. Have the courage to do it. And do it well. And then manifest it and present it. And after you do that, find the next thing that you'd like to do. So the first is going to be our heart opening. Our hearts will open when we find our passion. And it might be working with children. It might be wanting to make a movie or write a book. It might be whatever. And then you want to make sure that you start working with the spiritual chakras, because the spiritual chakras will open up the higher realms. And you start working with that energy, even if it's only the 8th chakra. The 8th, just working with the one above your crown will bring in the others. And they are invisible. They're not on the body. They're on your etheric body, not on your physical body. We're going to find that we're going to have deeper dreams, and we may even have the challenge of people appearing before us and talking to us who don't live on the earth. And that's not an accident. That's not something to be frightened about.
Let's explore that real quick. What do you mean by people? Because there's been a lot of talk over the last couple years, of course, about NHI, non-human intelligence, things like that when it comes to UFO, UAP, that kind of stuff. But there is also, and this is something, especially when you're talking about the atomic bell that was rung, that you were speaking of earlier, Elizabeth. That's something that I have always said is that it wasn't only a message to the solar system. It was a message to other dimensions.
Yes.
That we are knocking now.
Now, other dimensions, there's 3 universes. I know this. Other people may not. I know this because I traveled all 3 of them. And to get to the 2nd universe, you have to go through a black hole, which everybody is so afraid of because they're like a vacuum cleaner.
Yeah.
We are the lowest one of the 3 universes. And the lesson in the 3 universes is finding more love, finding ways to expand your love of the universe, your love of that energy, and your love of being productive, being allowed to express yourself, being allowed to open your heart and love everybody for whatever they do. Not if they make 1 million guns, but if they want to enhance life, to bring more in. In fact, you were talking about your sponsor. And let me just say to you that my grandmother always taught me that everything on the planet was a gift, even a snake.
Yeah.
And you're doing CBC, and you said they're using every part of the plant. Absolutely true.
Yeah.
Now, that may be a new discovery, but it's not a new discovery.
Yeah.
Everything has a positive purpose.
Yeah.
Grandmother taught me that at, 8 years old.
Yeah.
You know how she punished us? She would send us out to sit under a tree and lean against the tree. And we couldn't come back into the house until we could tell why we did what we did wrong and why she was upset. And when we came back into the house, there would always be the apology and the realization. And she'd make us do a chore, like set the table or put the wash or do something. And that's how she took care of it. That was her discipline.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat.
Well, and with that comes the idea of not being ashamed that you made a mistake, but taking the pause in time to consider why you made the mistake.
And you don't make it again.
I remember distinctly the day that I called my father from Maine it had to have been almost midnight my time, so easily 10 p.m. his time, to apologize because I heard him come out of my mouth. I had told somebody that I was living with that, I wanted a reason, not an excuse. And I was like, it was then that I realized that you were not a jerk. You were trying to get me to understand why I was doing the action I was doing. And if I can give you a reason for the action, then I fully understand why I did the action. But if I'm giving you an excuse, then I'm trying to ignore the fact that I did the action to begin with.
And we're not going to be hit across the face and told they were dumb and stupid.
Well, and that's just all. Speaking of good energies.
Yeah, this is my baby. This is LMA, and she had to come up on my lap, so I had to do it. She's cute. My roommate.
Too cute. And when it comes to that, especially the idea of 26 being a point of manifestation this year, and the kind of like you were saying, and dreams coming true for 2026. I think we once again, as a whole, as humanity, as people, need to learn to focus more on positive than on negative. It's an ingrained part of our survival instinct to remember negative.
Yeah, but we have to open our hearts.
We do.
And following our passion will do that. I will tell you that this is going to be an intense emotional time for many, many people.
Yeah.
The topic of death in the family, amongst friends and colleagues, was the theme of 25, but now 26 is what can I do? What's my best? It's not asking why you were born. It's saying, when I was on American Bandstand with Dick Clark for 3.5 years, I met Bobby Darin, and we became very good friends.
Oh, wow.
And he wanted me to go to Vegas after I graduated high school and sing. But I never did it. My mother wouldn't let me. And that was my passion. Music was my passion. We used to play Name That Tune, and I could name Popeye the Sailor Man in the first 3 notes. I know every word to every song and every musical. I watched 3 of them this weekend, and I still remember it. My Fair Lady and Oliver. And that's what I love. That was my thing. But I didn't follow it. Now my thing has become writing. And I just finished my soul book. The Mysteries Revealed is my soul book. But the other book that I wrote was my life story, and that's Unlimited Realities. That's my physical life story. But Mysteries Revealed will open up people to the knowledge that there's another side, that we haven't been there yet because we're busy with our physical life. And our physical life is to bring our soul up to a higher level, to find more love, and to accept that there is a greater universe, and to learn how to work with it. But this year, we're going to have to work with our shadow. We're going to have to confront our shadow and bring our morals up higher because somehow we've lost them. And we're going to have to really work with changing our outlook. Not saying, I know that's true, that's the truth, saying, well, is that really a possibility? You know, when you tell somebody, and I've given a lot of readings, I do psychic readings all over the world, and when you tell somebody something positive, that there's going to be a change, they'll say, well, that's not true. You're not a good reader. What are you supposed to do?
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't want to hear the positive. They want to stay in their comfort zone. You're not going to be in your comfort zone in 26. No way.
Well,
you're going to be facing responsibility. You're going to be absolutely having a higher energy where you can get very excited. And you got to learn how to channel that energy into your positive side. And that's your passion.
Well, yeah. Yeah, exactly. And you know, the idea of finding that happiness, it's interesting because 26 to begin with is a huge spiritual number. That is a number of salvation. It's a number of divine purpose.
So what do you think of when you hear 111?
When I hear 111, I think completion. That's the
first day of the year. 111. January 1st, 2026 is a 111. And the completion is going to take about 3 years to 28. And we're really shifting. And it's going to be fast and furious because by May, the planets will be in Aries and Gemini. And that's fire and it's the wind. It's going to be like the wind. When you get a thought and you're not going to know what it is, and then you'll see what it is, and you want to hurry up and do it. So you really have to stay in that higher state of meditation. Listen to higher music like Richard Schulman, and learn that what comes to you flows through you and back out to do the good.
Yeah.
So my predictions are very different this year. We're not going to live month by month. We're going to live moment by moment, by project by project. It's going to be very different. Everything is going to be thrown off into a new path that we've never lived before.
Well, and it's interesting, especially with you bringing up the idea of it being a very feminine, very intuitive year in that kind of way. Like you really do, especially if it's not going to be a year or a time to be able to sit back, weigh things. It's going to be motion in that kind of way. You really do have to be much more locked into intuition. And that being able to read things as they are in fluid motion.
Well, you know, I wrote this book. I started this book Labor Day. And I had it published on Halloween. That is amazing.
Yeah.
What happens, and I had the experience, is something comes into your crown and fills your body, and you feel like you're a balloon. And you have to walk through that energy piece by piece, moment by moment. And I wrote this book that's amazing. I almost feel like I didn't write it because I think it was a lot channeled, given to me by higher forces. And that's beautiful. But the people that have that happen to them may not know what's going on. And they may try to fight it off. And then you can lose it or you can hurt yourself. Because you have to say, what is this all about? Please show me the way. And when you relax and do that, your creativity and passion will come forth. There's so many people that have not allowed themselves to drop the guilt or the programming that they've had.
Yeah.
And they have to plug into a new plug. It's like when you go to England, you have to have a completely different plug than you do in the United States.
Yeah.
So be open to that. That's the best thing, best advice that I can give to you.
Yeah. And the dog not so open to it.
We're going to have wonderful health breakthroughs. But I want to tell you that one of the best things that will happen in 26 is we will find ways to help the mentally ill and the homeless.
That's
We're
beautiful.
We're going to concentrate on that, yes. And that's part of the Rob Reiner problem that we had. Because he was so loved and so well known.
Yeah.
And yes, there's a sickness that they've named that's very rare, where the children kill their mother or their grandmother or their parents. And it's part of schizophrenia, I believe. But we're going to find ways to help with that. And we have to. We closed up all the mental institutions, I think in the 70s, wasn't it? And we threw them out on the street, and that was so wrong because we didn't want to spend the money. That's another thing. Abundance is a lot more than money. Abundance is what you've accomplished. Abundance is like you have abundance with your podcast. That's abundant.
Yeah.
We are going to get away from the money thing and more into the production or the passion.
Yeah.
And we're going to, these top people in these companies are earning $300, $400, sometimes $1 million a year, but they're not giving to the people what they need. They're being too selfish. We've got to bring in the balance. The balance is the caring, nurturing, and love.
Yeah.
Like the mother, the woman. And the man has not had that.
Well, we're programmed not to have it and not to want it, Elizabeth, sadly and horribly. And that's something that, like, when I spoke on the Remote Viewing Association cruise 2 years ago, somebody asked me what I liked most about remote viewing, and I honestly answered. I was like, as a male in America, it's because I get to write down my internal feelings and thoughts on a piece of paper without any judgment.
Yeah, you're not weak. You're not weak.
I'm encouraged to write it down, whereas in most parts of society, I am encouraged to be quiet about what I am thinking emotionally in that kind of way.
That heart. That's a wonderful focus.
Well, and it's the idea, like you're saying, about passion. All too many people, I think, tie passion to money and success to money, and the idea of I explain to people, I make music. I put all kinds of music out in the world, Elizabeth, because there's my music station right here over my shoulder, because it's a passionate part of my life. And when people ask why I have this set up, I have this set up because of my honest and true belief in the idea of building a hearth for the muses. And the idea of, if I build a suitable place for my muse, then my muse will be welcomed into my home, and the idea of I shouldn't belabor my muse either. I have this set up, so all I have to do is hit one button and hit record, and I'm making music. If I invite my muse in and then make her work for an hour and a half wiring things together to get ready to make music, the muse is going to get tired and leave. So you have to enable that stuff. You have to enable an infrastructure for those things to occur.
In my book, there's a wonderful chapter about music and about toning and about how that is the key to the universe, that and math. In fact, that's how Three Eye Atlas communicated with our scientists, by mathematics. They did everything with numbers. They talked to you with numbers. And I think that's fascinating.
Yeah, and even the idea of math and music being integrally tied together. You are constantly using math when you're making music.
Well, you know what's so interesting to me? Your astrological chart shows your passion. It shows you what you're here to do. And you can't fight it. You're here to do something specific. Your soul chose that before you were born. So that's why I say get in touch with who you are. Get in touch with yourself, either through help and guidance of a reader or through your own meditations. And you won't go wrong.
Now, with that in mind, Elizabeth, with any of this in mind, because even with your predictions that you're making for this, you have to be open of mind, you have to be open of heart, and you have to be open in mind of heart to interpretation in the moment as well. You know, much like praying for something, you have to be open of mind for that interpretation of prayer. Your prayer may have been answered, just possibly not in the exact way that you worded it, you know.
Well, let me give you an example of that. You're reminding me of 2001. In August, my girlfriend came to me, and she was going to fly back to India. And she said, well, there's 2 dates. They only had certain planes to fly to that area. She said either September 11th or September 18th. And I said back to her, out of my mouth, you can't fly on September 11th. Nobody will be flying. You have to choose the 18th. And she said, why?
Wow.
I said, I don't know. I was just told that. I didn't know why. I said, but nobody will be flying on September 11th. Now, I wasn't given the reason why. I was just told that was a fact. So I trust it because I always do that. Like when I have to cancel a doctor's appointment 4 days ahead of time so that they can reschedule, but I don't know why. And then we have a storm where there's no electricity on that day.
Yeah.
That's my gift. I've had that my whole life, and it's been very protective.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we are protected in so many ways, and the people aren't aware of it. They're not aware of an older person going out to the car with their groceries and somebody being there saying, can I help you?
Yeah.
That's a gift. That's an angel.
Yeah. No.
And if you ask for it ahead of time, it will come to you.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Well, and you know, especially that idea of, once again, being open to that moment when it happens. Because, your prayer may have been answered. You just didn't recognize the moment because you were locked in. Your interpretation was locked into a box that you gave.
When I'm leaving the house, I throw out the energy of protection and help. And I ask for divine angels to be there when I need them. So I went down for an appointment this week, and I had to get from my car to the front door of the medical building. And that was a little scary because it was very cold.
Yeah.
And along comes a man going in for his appointment. And I stopped him and I said, can you help me into the And he not only helped me, he helped me through the door. He got a wheelchair, he put me in it, and he drove me to where I was going before he can do. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
But if you're in fear and you say, well, he won't help me, he's going to hurt me, you'll get hurt.
Yeah.
You have to have the love, higher vibration feeling, and you have to keep it. But we're so used to the lower vibrations.
Yeah. Well,
Three-Eye Atlas is sending the energy to lift us out of that.
Well, and when it comes to that, especially one of the things we discuss regularly on the show, Elizabeth, is sadly and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that negativity necessarily is more powerful than positive. In that kind of way. It's not. It's not. It's that.
Absolutely not.
It's that as far as frequency goes, your mind tends to dwell more in the negative in a natural way.
You have power over that.
Yeah. Oh, no. You have full power and consent over that. And it takes some rewiring and reprogramming of millions of years of evolution.
I studied with Louise Hay for 5 years. And what she taught us isn't, absolutely fabulous. We used to have to walk upstairs and write down, or we had a little tape recorder. We tape record our thoughts. This is hard. When am I going to get to the top? There's too many stairs. And then when we got to the top, we had to play the tape back and change every sentence into something positive. I'm enjoying this. I'm going to have a wonderful time. We change it. And that, you can train yourself to do that.
You can.
I see a lot of people say something negative and say, oh, I didn't mean it. Let's change that to a positive statement.
Yeah.
Or I don't know why I said that. Let's get that positive. People are doing that more and more now.
Well, and, I think it is one of the most important skill sets that we as humanity have, Elizabeth, is that we have not only the opportunity, but the ability to be able to change that field around us in that kind of way.
That's true. And you can change it in a second.
Sure.
Well, people don't realize that if they say, I shouldn't have thought that, they feel guilty.
Yeah.
You know what guilt is? Someone else wanting you to do what you don't really want to do.
Well, and I think it's also the fact that people feel guilty because they have this preternatural misunderstanding of the fact of, no, your brain's going to have random thoughts. Some of those thoughts may be horrible. Like the most, God bless them. Every mother in the world, I don't know a single mother, a single one. My wife used to come to me and be like, my God, I had like the most horrible thought about our son. Like they see the most horrible visions in their head of their children. It's what you do with that.
Right.
It's not the fact that you had the thought that's bad. It's do you feed it? Do you give it water? Do you harbor the bad thought? Do you give it soil to root and grow in? Then you've got a problem. But if you just had the thought, you're human. Your brain's going to stray in all kinds of ways. That's a natural, beautiful thing. It's what you do with it that matters.
Or how you survive.
Yeah, because that's just it. That's part of our wired survival instinct is to have those bad thoughts. So it's okay. Like, that's a natural part of us. It's whether or not you dwell on it and give it power over you.
I think it's the battle between good and evil.
Absolutely.
I think temptation.
Yeah.
And you have to walk away from it. And that can be very, very difficult.
Yeah. Yeah, the temptation to stay in that negative thought form because it's comfortable and familiar. Yeah.
Like I won at gambling last time. I'm going to go back and win at gambling again. And you don't.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting.
It really is. And it is that understanding of your nature, having that understanding of yourself and acceptance of yourself, of hey, maybe you do have a history of gambling, things like that. So when you learn to recognize the propensity, you can kind of short circuit the want to go do it sometimes. And once again, 2026 being a major year of shift, like you're talking about, being that shift toward the female yoni carrying energy in that kind of way.
Forgiving yourself.
Yeah.
This is a 1 year. It's a beginning. We have a lot more years to go. But remember, you're only just shifting over. So if you do have the negative environment or a negative thought, you have to forgive yourself.
Yeah.
It's a 1 year. You're a baby. It's like getting a new puppy. You have to hold them. They're only a baby. And you have to rock them as you train them.
Yeah.
Go outside. It's amazing.
Now, I am
that awareness.
In the last few minutes here, we got about 10 minutes left, Elizabeth. Let's get into the concept of that 1 year, because I'm fairly familiar. I'm not going to say I'm fully familiar with numerology. I am fairly familiar with the concepts of numerology and how something is a 1 year, how somebody has a dominant number in their life, things like that. How do you calculate what a year is and how many types of years are there in that kind of way when it comes to numerology?
There's 9 years.
Why is this a 1 year out of 9 years?
Because 2026 adds up to a 1.
Yeah.
And you have your birth date. My birth date is 3/16/2026. 3/16 adds up to a 1. No, 8, 9, 10. So if I add that to 2026, I'm in my 2 year. When is your birthday?
Mine is August 28th. So
okay. 8, 9, 10. So you're 19. So you're a 1.
I'm a 1 year. Yeah, and the way that works, folks, just so you understand, is 2026. So that makes 10. So if you add 2 and 0, that's 2. Add 2 to that, that's 4. Add 6 to it, that's a 1. 1 and 0 out of 10 makes 1. That's how you end up with a 1 year. That's how numerology
your year and
works.
month adds up to a 1.
Yeah.
So you're in a 2 year as well.
And what does that mean?
That means that we are soul harmony. That means that we are both in the same year at the same time. That's called soul harmony.
Wow.
And that means that we'll likely get along and be friends. Now, if you get into other years, like a 3 year, if you're a 3 year and I was a 1 year, we may not get along that well, but we do. We get along beautifully and we understand each other.
Mm.
So that's part of the gift.
Yeah.
And you're a Virgo and I'm a Pisces and they are
both water signs.
No, one's an earth and one's a water, but they're opposite each other. They're the balance. The Virgo balances Pisces. Gemini balances Sagittarius. Leo balances Aquarius. Why is that true? Because in the chart, there's 12 houses and they oppose each other in the chart. So you have what I don't have and I have what you don't have. And that's balance. It brings back. It's so interesting.
Yeah.
I have, a long time ago, I wrote out the energy of each month for each number. And I used to put that up on my website. You're in a 1 year, you're in the month of March, that's a 3, and this is the energy for you for that month. I broke it all down.
And once again, the idea of that numerology goes into so many sides of the esoteric. Like if you want to properly understand Kabbalah, for instance, you need to understand numerology, because even the idea of each letter in the Hebrew alphabet having a number attached to it. It goes deep into so many things, the numerological concept. And once you understand it.
In writing my book, Mysteries Revealed, we have 9 cycles, 9 years, and then we go back to 1 year again. But in my book, I explain that when you're on the other side and you're getting ready to take the body again, you have 9 guides that you sit with and plan your next life. You plan your next life energetically. And again, you said it's what you do with it. Because I had an identical twin, and I had 2 sisters that were identical twins. And we both had the same energy, but we both certainly handled it differently. My sister and I were 20 minutes apart. My older sisters were 2 minutes apart. Wow. So their variation, they were like hand in glove. They loved each other. They had a great life. My sister and I were total opposites.
Interesting.
Total opposites. We didn't want to dress alike. We didn't want to do anything alike. And it took a while.
Wow.
It's very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, I have always, because my mother and I share a birthday. I was born on my mother's 25th birthday. And there have always been some times in life where we have just kind of butted heads. And I'm like, no, that's that 25-year separation gap of the same birthday, male, female, you know, like
that's her belief system in her time, and then your belief system in your time.
Yeah. Yeah. No, exactly.
So you were helping her to grow into a new awareness.
Absolutely. And we all have to be willing to do that, Elizabeth, you know.
But we're not. We're taught to be selfish.
Yeah.
Be first.
And it's not a comfortable process. As I think that is probably the biggest lesson that I learned in my life from caring for reptiles was the idea of growth and shedding skin, and the idea of there is a good uncomfortable time for that reptile as that skin begins to separate, as they stop eating for a month or so, and stop taking food in. Their eyes get milky. They can't see. A skin grows over their outer ears so they don't hear as much. Things like that. And then they burst forth and they are more beautiful than they've ever been. They're now larger. They've grown into their new skin. And that idea of the pain that you have to go through in order to become something new and beautiful.
Okay, so this can be graduating from high school and going to college.
Sure.
This can be getting married and then having to live together.
It could be getting divorced and finding your new life.
Yeah, but I was trying to give positive.
That could be positive too. Sadly.
But not until you get through it.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you can have a baby, and you have to learn how to adjust. Mm-hmm. So it's accepting change. And we don't have too many people that like change.
That's true.
Actually, I don't think anybody likes change. But the question is, are you going to fight it? Or are you going to say, how can I deal with this?
Yeah.
And a lot of people fight it. It's very sad.
Well, with that in mind, in our last couple of minutes here, Elizabeth, moving into 2026, how can people, anybody out there, begin to move to that spiritual step, begin to learn to see these things as they happen, and take on, once again, that beautiful feminine energy when it comes to acceptance and change in that kind of way.
Well, I think I'm going to go back to Louise Hay. She taught us nothing happens by accident. So instead of fussing about it, sit down, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, how did I bring this to myself? What is my lesson in all this? And how can I work with it? And that will bring you up to higher level. That will open up that chakra. 3 questions. How did I bring myself? What is the lesson in it? And how can I work with it?
Absolutely.
Because you have to accept it.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. If you wake up in the night and your wife has moved out, you have to work with it.
Yep.
Not get mad and want to hurt her back.
Yeah.
That's going to be foreign in our process. Maybe when we get beyond our 5-year, I give, because we're in the 1 year now, go up to the 5-year or the 6-year, and you won't be able to do that. You won't be able to get mad and want to hurt somebody. You won't want to hurt an animal. You won't want to do anything to hurt anybody. So then we can take all the guns and melt them and give the world to our sons and daughters in a positive way.
Yeah.
It's coming.
Beautifully said,
We're not going to
Elizabeth.
be able to hurt. We're not going to be able to hurt ourselves, our animals, or our planet anymore as we process. So we're starting the process on New Year's, and I really want to say Happy New Year.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's just it. This airs literally 2 days before New Year. So these are messages that hopefully everybody will take into the new year, will take into consideration. I've written down actually quite a few things that you said tonight as we were talking and doing this interview, so that next year and in the future after these dates come, that we can talk about them. We can process and see what things may have come about, because once again, much like any prayer or things like that, most of these you really do have to process through a wide scope lens once things come down the line.
I want to say to you the difference between prayer and meditation.
Please.
Prayer is where you pray and send your energy out. I pray that he gets well. I pray that she gets a job. I pray that she gets pregnant or that she delivers. That's prayer. But meditation is your prayer to yourself, where you open up to your soul and you get yourself in a state of being that's a high state, and you wait. And it comes in.
Yeah.
What you need to do comes in. If you ask for something, you have to give it 72 hours to come back to you. If you ask for a job change, or you ask for money, or you ask for a new car, you have to give it 72 hours to work through the energies. Nothing is instant on the other side. It floats in. It floats in. But you will get your answer. Yes or no. You will get your answer within 72 hours. It can be a phone call. It can be a letter. It can be a number. It can be something happening at the grocery store or at the gas station. But you will get your answer.
Well, and once again, and like I used to teach my students all the time, that you've got to be tuned in. You've got to be paying attention, and you've got to have a wide angle view of what you're taking in, because otherwise you're asking for manifestation within a very small box.
You can't ask for a manifestation without working towards it.
That's right.
And that has to do with your passion.
Yeah.
But the most beautiful thing to remember is every day when you wake up, stretch yourself out and say, this is going to be a wonderful day. And everything that I need is going to come to me quickly and easily. And the minute you do that, you relax. Just saying it's going to come to me quickly and easily.
Yeah.
Because, I'll be opening a jar and I can't get it open. And I'll just sit there for a minute. I'll run energy down into my hand and I'll say, this has to open quickly and easily. And it opens. It's amazing. You can test yourself in many ways. The thought process and the energy change.
Absolutely.
You can feel it.
Yeah. Elizabeth, thank you so much for your time today. I greatly appreciate it. And thank you so much for the wisdom and love that you shared with us tonight, with these thoughts, these feelings moving into a new year, because I think it is hugely important for people to have positive things to focus on moving into a new year. So thank you so much for tonight. Thank you so much, as always, for your beautiful energy and wisdom as you share with us so honestly and candidly. Before we let you go, let everybody know where they can go to buy your new book, Mysteries Revealed Beyond Mortal Boundaries, and where they can go to contact you.
All of my books are on Amazon, and I do have a 24-hour answering service. I'm in transition with my website, so you can call 201-934-8986 and leave a message, and we'll get back to you.
Absolutely. Elizabeth, once again, thank you so much for the time and for the candid conversation. Hold the line real quick while we close things out with the audience. While you are online getting your copy of Mysteries Revealed Beyond Mortal Boundaries from our good friend Elizabeth Joyce, everybody, make sure to stop on by Curious Realm. CuriousRealm.com/store is where you can find all of the books, videos, classes, things like that from our guests. That's where you can find tons of binaural beat music tuned specifically for experiencers of paranormal events to help shed PTSD, things like that. That's also where you can find your link to Curious Research, our effort to help researchers of the paranormal get their data ready for science and to help science get their mind reopened and ready to receive data from the paranormal. Thank you so much, everybody, for your open hearts, your open minds, not only this year, but every year since we have started this program. Your open hearts, your open minds are what make the conversation, and without the conversation, humanity does not march forward. So remember, in this new year, to take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and stay curious. We'll talk to you soon, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of The Curious Realm. Stay tuned for more guests, forbidden topics, and hidden truths. Follow us on social media by searching Curious Realm. To download the official Curious Realm app and view the Knowledge Vault, or become a sponsor of Curious Realm, visit our website at curiousrealm.com. Curious Realm is available on your favorite podcast and video services, curiousrealm.com, as well as KGRA Radio, APR TV, and the official Curious Realm app for Roku devices. Curious Realm is a proud member of the Ground Zero Media family of podcasts. For more shows and members-only content, visit groundzeroplus.com today. Thanks for listening. Stay curious, and remember, the other side is always watching.